What's up, YouTube? Belton here. Got a quick video for you today going over a recent mirror craft. Format of this video, going to show you guys a couple clips here, some cool moments from the craft. Then I'm going to explain it in full detail, give some reasons for different crafting choices, let you guys hear from some of the people that helped me craft it, give you the breakdown on the numbers, and just talk about the craft in general. Hope you enjoy the video. Feels
Belton, a narcissist? Whoa.
Yes! Yes! I hit it! Fuck you! I'm the greatest of all time, bitch! Ah!
I couldn't hear a damn word because your mic is just peaking over and over.
Yeah! Tell me I ain't the best! Huh! Belton! Fuck you, bitch! I'm not starting to think, but I'm wondering if it would be better to go back to rolling Grace Determination, 500 Armor Evasion. Oh my fucking god. I'm the greatest of all time.
T0. Congratulations.
Hello, people of YouTube and those of you watching live on Twitch. Here to announce that we finally finished the Amulet and the mirror crafting project that I've been working on along with a couple guys from my guild for the past several days. Super proud about this one. It was probably the first thing that I actually felt kind of motivated and really interested in pursuing this league. Not that I wouldn't say that I'm jaded, but a lot of the mirror crafts that I make are often kind of just sort of a habituated thing just because I know the market's there, but it's not really pushing my limits or testing me in any kind of way. And as I'm sure most of you know, rolling vultures and cray chicks and that stuff, despite how much time I spend doing that, is really not the most fun thing to do. So I kind of dispassionately approached a lot of those crafts until I saw this amulet base, which I made in a previous video. The double anointment, the fact that I could pursue something not only anointment-wise that had never been done before, but also go after a series of implicits that had never been achieved. So two kind of world firsts there, and you know, not for like the feather and the cap sake, but doing stuff like that is you know where I derive a lot of the passion and purpose I guess I get in the game. So I was really looking forward to going after this. For those of you following along on my community section on the YouTube, you'll notice that I posted quite a few updates going through. And anyways, here we are, guys. Doom Scarab Synthesized Jade Amulet. We've got the T1 Crit Multi, or T1 Crit Multi, Jesus. The T1 Mana Reservation Efficiency, which is a T0 Rarity Synth mod, one of the rarest, actually the rarest synth mod that you can get on amulets. Grace Aura Effect, Determination Aura Effect, Champion of the Cause with Charisma. Then we've got T1 ES percent, +1 to all skills, +1 to lightning skills. We've got T1 Fire Res, 35 to all attributes, and then +1 minimum frenzy charge with chance to gain frenzy charge on kill. I'm super happy with this. There is nothing that I would change. Give some brief explanations for this. You know, in totality, we get +2 to gem levels. We get the resistances, 35 to all attributes instead of just the T1 int, because it does free up a lot of points that you can use for tattoos on your tree. And if you have any, you know, attribute requirements for gear or whatever that are lacking behind, really can you know, fill out the way there. The minimum frenzy charge is always nice, means you've always got one, but the frenzy charge on kill actually can be a rather difficult thing to get at times, in particular if you're not using Scion or Unleashed. 33 div sale. Unleash potential. You know, there are alternative ways, like you can put the points on the passive tree to get the mark mastery, or you could use a influence chest. But it is rather difficult. There's also some megalomaniac mods and other things you can go, but no real mainstream or mainstay way to get those frenzy charges generated. By putting just the minimum frenzy, which in of itself is already good, and the frenzy charge on kill, you take care of that problem there. Nice and simple, and I certainly thought that that was better than, say, you know, adding all res or, you know, int in that case. I mean, you could have int, I suppose, instead of all attributes, one or the other, but the minimum frenzy, fantastic there. You could also make the choice for endurance charge. As I'm playing a Juggernaut, I decided to go with frenzy, and I do feel like there's quite a few alternative ways to generate endurance charges when you're in that need, but frenzies can be rather difficult, and so that's why we made that choice there. The fire res obviously for the overcap, the ES percent just because it's incredibly efficient. We have a lot of flat energy shield this patch, And then the +2, +1 to all skills, being because it applies to all auras, it's a no-brainer. And the +1 to lightning skills because that applies to both Smite and Wrath, which are both great as they add a large portion of our damage, since the replica Dream Feathers scale up the increased damage so much, which means that for each additional point of damage that we get, in particular lightning damage, as we use volatility, that gets obviously magnified to the nth degree. So that's why we landed on each one of those individual modifiers. What's really cool about this, aside from the double anointment, is this is actually the first time that this synth combo has ever been rolled before. Previously, the only mirror amulet for this was crafted by Misha, who is, as I'm sure any of you that are familiar with Armor Stacker know who Misha is, probably one of the most gifted players of that archetype in the game. And this is just a one-to-one improvement upon what he had last league for this. So he had Grace Determination, 10% DS, and then the single anointment, of course. And then he was using a double overcap chest. So his suffixes, he had fire and cold res, and then fire and cold, the crafted mod as well. So some different suffixes there. Prefix is the same though. Many of you are probably thinking or are curious what the difference is between this and the newly available +8 amulets. As you guys know, I'm not a huge PoB guy. I also don't think that there's a universal answer to everything. But the basics of it would be that the +8 amulet is about 50 to 60% more damage, which is obviously incredibly substantial. But there is a ton of utility and a ton of defenses on this. And so it really will boil down to what you want to, I suppose, min-max, or where you want to prioritize for yourself. It should go without saying, too, that if you were actually to mirror this amulet, it would still probably only cost you 1/5 or 1/6 as much as that. Obviously, to get the +8 is no small feat. But just to lay it out for you, on a +8 amulet, you get +4 to all skills gems, +4 to lightning skill gems. So it's really +4 to everything, and then your Smite and your Wrath are getting an additional +4 there. But again, as I mentioned a minute ago, that is where a substantial portion of your damage is going to come from. But it doesn't apply to things like Determination or Grace or Discipline or whatever. The +4 does, but not the second +4 to bring it to the +8. And that's it. That's the entirety. And then it would be anointed with Charisma. On the other hand, for ours, we have a total of 8, 24, 36% reservation efficiency, 32% Grace Aura effect, 32% Determination Aura effect, 12% to all Aura effect, 40% increased Energy Shield, 35 Strength, 35 Int, 35 Dex, 48 Fire Resistance, Frenzy Charge generation, including a minimum Frenzy Charge, +2 or +1/1. And we also have, at a bare minimum, you will save 8 points on the tree. And you also have an additional allowance for a aura. You can run an additional aura by using this because of the extra allotted RMR that it provides. Or alternatively, if you have RMR, let's say on a chest, using like the essence of, I believe it's loathing, or on a helmet, that could free up something there, or potentially some points on the tree. But Champion of the Cause is right here. So, assuming that you have the Iron Reflexes, and in most cases people will have this jewel node here, you're going to be looking at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in some cases. Or if you are going from Iron Reflexes directly and you're not using the, what's that jewel called? Not Impossible Escape. People on Discord, help me out here. The Crimson Jewel, Thread of Hope. The large Thread of Hope that has become pretty commonplace this league. That's going to be 8 points at least. And this node here, this cluster, is 12% aura effect and 8% RMR, so it's quite strong. And then, of course, Charisma is the mainstay. So when comparing the two things, obviously there's upsides to both. If you're just looking for pure damage, of course, naturally the +8 is going to be better. However, again, it is going to be significantly more expensive, and you are going to be foregoing a lot of additional elements. My thoughts on it personally, for myself, knowing that, especially because we're dual wielding this league, right? In past league, we use Dawnbreaker, but because we're dual wielding the replica Dream Feathers, we effectively double our increased damage, right? That we're getting from the effect of the replica Dream Feather. I don't really think that damage is going to be an issue. and from people that I've been listening to and to whom or for whom I have a due level of respect for their abilities and understanding of the build. The one chief complaint that I've seen is that it's significantly more squishy than it was previously. I've looked through some POBs, and the high end, like the single hit, is about 20% of it was last league. I remember my single hit, the single hit that I had last league on POB was, I think, 900,000 or a million, with Fizz being about 1.3 or 1.4 million. And I believe this league it's around 200 to 250K. Again, I don't really think damage is going to be too much of an issue, in particular dual wielding replica Dream Feathers. However, with the removal of Fizz Taken As and the removal of Transcendence, and just the overall adjustment to flasks, as well as the other min-maxing or build adjustments that have happened, along with the new patch and the changes with Grace and the changes with the base types and whatnot. I do think that for myself personally, at least, taking the more well-rounded route where you have the utility and the functionality of things like the Frenzy Charge, as well as getting the Fire Res, which is a mainstay for any overcap build, the 40% ES, which is very good because of so much flat, the +2, you're still getting that damage from there, and then being able to get so much RMR and so much aura effect. For me personally, this is really everything that I want. But maybe at some point that'll change and I want to go for a max DPS version. But I saw quite a few people leaving those comments on the YouTube as I was on the YouTube community section as progressively updating the craft. So obviously my thoughts on these are just my own. People are going to have their own opinions on this. When I looked on POB for both like the setup that I had currently, as well as with like the max end sort of typical setup with the Mage Blood, Nimbus, the aura effect, 92 RMR +1 aura +6 helmet, blah blah blah, the mainstay features that you would have for the build. It was somewhere between 50 to 65% more damage to use the +8. But again, there's a plethora of downsides that each of none individually seemed that grand, but little things like having 35 strength means that you can turn 3 strength small passives into 18 fire res, right, using 3 tattoos. There's little things like that you can't directly account for. But hopefully, that overview provides enough insight. I would encourage you, if you're curious about it, to, of course, based on your preferences, playstyle, compatibility, other gear, and what your goals are within the game, to make a decision that is contextually right for you. There's never going to be a universal answer, but I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that there's no merit to the +8s. Naturally, there is. Leave the decisions up to people individually, as I have, and whether or not you land on the decision that this is better for you, no problem. But I noticed when I was posting this, there were some rather animosity-filled comments amongst people, kind of arguing back and forth. Completely unnecessary. I don't think that there's, two cool things can exist simultaneously without having to, be in conflict with one another. And so, if you decide to go the other route, Godspeed. No problem. But, so that's the craft. That's what it looks like right now. Super proud of it. In total, I can give you guys a little quick overview here, what the costs were. It was Amulet. And it's gone. I can tell you more or less from the top of my head. It's about 1,450 vultures. I believe it was about 680 Kraychik Chimeras. The base itself was 5 mirrors. Rolling the prefixes was about 64. No, it wasn't 60. About 40 div. Rolling the suffixes, that's where a lot of, actually the majority of the cost, believe it or not, was incurred. We ended up having to use, I believe, 27 or 28 Hinakora's locks at around 64 divines apiece, or approximately 8 to 1 mirror. The locks in of themselves cost about 3.5 or 4 mirrors in a rather tight span. In fact, there were some kind viewers on Twitch that and from my Discord that offered to loan some of those locks in the short term. So thank you to those guys. Do appreciate that. We would have been able to finish the craft without them. As I said, we do have a team of a couple other people, but it certainly makes more sense to get it done quicker. You get services in faster, and you can buy the material cost. The material costs are always lower earlier on in the league. So for those of you, if any of you watching were one of them, you are appreciated, and thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I feel like I've covered everything there is for this. Amulet's dope. Wearing it on myself. I put together a little mirror shop thread last night. There was an earlier version of this amulet where the suffixes were a little bit wonkier, and so in that situation there, I haven't really promoted this in any way. I don't have a command set up for it yet, but as you can see here, Belton's mirror shop. We'll get the amulet linked up in there now. The fee for the moment is 160 divine, so about about 25 30% of a mirror. There's a few people we have to pay back, and there's also a few guys on the team. Hopefully I might try selling the space that we have here just to expedite that process. But the amulet in total, by the way, sorry I didn't give a summarizing cost, was just under 11 mirrors, 11 to 12 mirrors. But it also took over a week of time. On my end, it probably took 30 to 40 hours of rolling beasts and collecting rare beasts and all of that. And for the 3 to 4 other guys that were contributing to the project in a variety of different capacities, many of them were running memories and asking questions that drove me crazy throughout. Shout out to Amish. Amish, you here?
Yep.
There's Amish YouTube. Amish is a special one. Fucking Amish. But no, it was a pretty fun craft. Did you guys, I know the guys that I was crafting with, they're actually in the Discord with me right now. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Any good memories, bad memories? Yeah, sorry, what's up?
I remember getting PTSD saying, hey, we're going to need some locks from last league.
Yes.
I was just hoping that we were not going to have to need 78 locks.
Yeah, last league was last league it ended up being I had 78 and we needed 107 and then we ended up using 320, so it was instead of needing 30 we needed 180 or something like that. Anyways, this is neither here nor there, and I suppose that this is going to drag the video out a little bit longer. Apologies for
the other thing is calling you a narcissist and then hitting the mod and then getting yelled at.
Well, I mean that right there, that's just poetic justice. I mean,
that's right.
You never go hungry when you're full of yourself. Okay, it's not narcissism. All right, I have a deficit disorder. I require attention. It's medical. Don't ask questions. But thank you, free for all. Did anyone else have any insights or comments?
Yeah, I guess this is my first time doing anything like this ever, and kind of that feeling when you finally get what you were trying to get, it's something that I haven't felt in any other game. So it was a really enjoyable experience, no matter how much I had to deal with Belton. He sucks. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it.
Well, aside from the clear defamation, smearing, and lies that have been coming out of the CNN of crafters over here, we can progress. No, it was a pleasure, this league. I know a lot of the times when I make these videos for YouTube, people bring up the fact that there's some people in guild, blah, blah, blah. Often you guys refer to them as bitch boys or little servants. So you guys are aware everyone that does these has like an equal stake or has an equitable stake in what they're doing. They are remunerated. Oh my God, I can never say that word. They get equity based on what they put in, and then we all contribute our time equally. We're always on voice chat with one another. We work on it together. It's not something where there's a dictatorial mandate on their part. It's always voluntary, and everyone's informed at every stage. Obviously, sometimes if you watch on stream, taking a quarterbacking position, I have to, sometimes get people to, take a harsher tone when things are, falling to the wayside. But at the end of the day, we are, collaborating on this. And this league, my father, unfortunately, was going through heart surgery at the beginning of league. So I missed probably 10 days of league, including the first 24 hours, multiple days at a time. So even though I'm very excited for the league, I had to take somewhat of a step back, I suppose, compared to the fervor and excitement I would take in a typical league start scenario. So having a smaller group of guys, 3 or 4 of us, it has been actually quite a treat, despite the fact that, occasionally I question my sanity and public school education systems from where they come from. I think that it's all in good faith, and it's been much more of a joy. So hopefully hearing from those guys can provide some more insight into that, because people seem to always be confused about that and ask questions. If you have any more, let me know in the comments below, and I'm sure those guys would be happy to answer, and perhaps can do a more fleshed out interview and explain that if people are confused. Really, the TLDR is that we use the totality, or the idea is to make the totality greater than the sum of its parts, right? If I'm crafting something, especially when I'm doing vultures in the menagerie, naturally I can't be, outrunning maps or making currency or, buying beasts or things like that simultaneously. And the only exhaustible resource in PoE, life to a greater extent, is time, right? And obviously you can play 20 hours a day or 24 hours a day, but the more things that you can get done in a finite amount of time, in particular when you have a zero-sum competitive market like mirror crafting often is, the better off you're going to be. And when you get multiple people working together with a shared goal, a shared vision, that each have like a task specialization, or that are from different time zones that can kind of pick up the weight, it can really make the process a whole lot smoother, especially because the mirror markets tend to be dominated by like groups of people, right? Very rarely do you see somebody acting as like a sole proprietorship, so to speak. But damn, I feel like I've been talking a lot longer than I meant to on this, and a lot of this probably doesn't have to do with the craft in of itself, but it's been a little bit of a while since I've had a winding diatribe video like this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the craft and getting the updates over the past week or so in the community section. For those of you who are interested, I will link the the mirror thread below in the description, as well as in the pinned comments. And I hope you guys have been having a good league. Hope you've been getting some good luck, some good success. Many mirrors to fall your way, as I would like to extract them from you, Kappa. Not Kappa. We had some good luck today as well. If you haven't seen my earlier YouTube video, we ended up hitting the rarest synth base in the game, but that is a question for another day. But lots on the horizon. So if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Throw a like and sub and all that YouTube stuff if you enjoyed it. Lots more to come. Hope you guys are doing well. God bless. Stay safe. Take care. See you next time. Cheers, lads. Hello. Welcome to the credits. This little button above me is to sub. Hit it. Do it. Over here will be a playlist of some of the videos I recommend if this is your first time watching. Some of the most useful stuff for a beginner. And over here is another video I think you'll like. Cheers, lads.